This is Jared Parry for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. Delighted to be joined by IBF Flyweight champion Sonny Edwards. Sonny, we're here in Leicester. We're about to see Lerrone Richards about to make his return, part of the gym now. How excited are you to see Lerrone put what he's done in the gym with you guys into fruition?
Yeah, excited for Lerrone. It's important to get back busy. He had a period of inactivity, sort of promotional disputes, and then he had a fight and it sort of fell through last minute. So that is boxing now. I've been there, so I know what that feels like, and he's shown a lot of improvement. Not even improvement, he was always a very good fighter, but I feel like he's just prioritising a few different things now and it's giving him a slight different look. So I'm excited to see what he comes back with, to be honest.
So you say he's looking very good, like we just seen there warming up there. I've just got to ask you now, your fourth defence of your IBF Flyweight titles coming up against Campos over Arena in Wembley. Do you see this as a homecoming for yourself?
Kind of. I kind of had it in Sheffield last time. I feel like as I've spent my whole adult life in Sheffield, it's probably more organic relationships as an adult I've built up there. So I was really, really excited to bring my world title back there and have the event, and everyone turned out, and it was a great night for the city and all the fighters on the card. So this is like my second version of it. Obviously, I haven't defended my title in London, so yeah, 100%. Obviously, London's where I was born, is where I was brought up for the first 18 years of my life. Fought a lot in London throughout the years as a pro, as an amateur before that. So yeah, Wembley Arena, great arena. It's a good card. Got some good fighters on the undercard. Just looking forward to getting in and having my first fight on DAZN under the Matchroom banner, to be honest.
Was this always the plan June the 10th? Because I think it was in Cardiff at Cordina's fight. This card hadn't been announced yet. There was talks of Josh Warrington headlining. Then I think Hearn let something slip in the post-up press conference that he's looking at maybe bringing you in. Did you always have June the 10th in mind, or were you looking for a bit of a later date, earlier date?
No, not at all, to be honest. I mean, I always stay in the gym. I always stay sparring, so I'm always kind of ready to start a camp, even if I'm not completely 100% on it. And I was waiting for a date and a rough idea, and then I was told it would probably be back end of July. So I booked a holiday. I was about to go away, and then within 24 hours, 48 hours, got the phone call. They wanted me for 7 weeks' time, 10th of June. And what a way to start a relationship with your new promoter, by saving the day and maybe saving the headline where they kind of needed one. I don't know how many other fighters would defend the world title with 7 weeks' notice. But yeah, I did it gladly. I've never turned down fights previously. I'm not going to start doing it now. Yeah.
Obviously, you've now joined the Matchroom. Must be your first fight under the promotion. They have got, in your division, they've got Bam Rodriguez. They've also got Julio Cesar Martinez. It's been, you've been a fighter who's been screaming out for Unifications for years. Do you think this is now the time that they're all about to come?
Well, you'd think so. There's been some exciting conversations behind the scenes, but obviously they've all got materialised and come into fruition. But it's definitely the most excited I've been about my boxing career. I feel like I've got to world level, I'm the world #1, and now all the big fights are laid out in front of me. If I win these, I'll probably get the recognition and the credibility that some people have been saying my talents deserve for a lot longer.
I was going to say, I mentioned Julio Cesar Martinez there, WBC champion, fought just on the weekend, just gone in Guadalajara. Wasn't the most spectacular performance from him. He got the stoppage in the end against Ronald Batista. Do you look at that fight and take anything away from it, or do you just think you're going to beat him full stop?
I'll be rough and asleep by about 1, 2 o'clock that night. I didn't make it. I caught the knockout. But we know what to expect from Martinez. You'll get the same Martinez every time he steps in the ring. He has the same approach, and it's one that's been very successful for him. Not one I fear personally. I feel like no one's ever really seen me remotely not like seeing the final bell. Like I've ever been in trouble in any time I've ever stepped foot in the ring my whole life. So whether Martinez will be the first one to do that, I highly doubt it. But he's a good fighter in his own right. He can bang. There's no doubt about it. So I think it's definitely still an exciting fight. I mean, he's had good performances. He's beaten a lot of British fighters. So it makes sense for me to aim for that fight and also try and tie up the WBC, the IBF I've already got, and the Ring magazine, because he's the fighter I need to fight to get it, #1 versus #2.
So that's a fight that we'll all be looking forward to. But I got to speak to you now about this week with the news of Frazer Clarke, Fabio Wardley. It sort of dominated boxing headlines this week. Obviously, Hearn took to Twitter to announce that the purse bids were called off about 15 minutes before we were all awaiting the announcement. They were called off due to Boxer reportedly pulling Frazer Clarke out. Can I get your take on this whole situation?
Well, I feel like when it comes to these instances, I don't know what's happened. Like, I've not got no inside track, but I feel like I can tell what's happened. I think it puts Sky and Boxer in a position where, in order to be competitive or win the purse bid, they've not only got to beat DAZN, they've also got to make sure that the 30 or 40%, I think it's 40%, that a mandatory challenger gets for a British title, they've got to make sure that 40% matches with the guarantees in Frazer Clarke's contract. And if they do that, the 60% of Fabio Wardley's money will blow that out the water and will probably make the fight not worth it for them. Whereas, DAZN, it might be different on their side. They've got the champion, so it makes it easier. Also, Frazer would have to step across the waters, which might not just be absolutely deal breaker for Boxer and Sky, but then, the 15, 20, 25, whatever the going rate is at the moment of the percent that a fighter has to pay when they cross the path, that a lot of people don't know about, but is universally pretty much standard in all contracts. That percent will then knock out, Frazer's 40% down even more, and then it's probably not financially viable. He's not getting the guaranteed of what he was getting, so there probably wasn't a way to make it happen on their side. So I can imagine the fight has been attempted to be made outside of the purse bids. If I was the promoter with the champion and in a favourable position, probably with the venues booked, etc., I wouldn't budge in that instance. I would force their hand, get the fighter taken out of the mandatory. Now when you negotiate the fight, it's from a position where we don't even have to have the fight. So the strength of position has obviously gone with Fabio Wardley, but probably by the mistake made at some point, we don't know who by whoever put in Frazer for a British title fight, when, I don't know, their promoter wasn't in a position to really nail down a venue, a plan for said fight, and then it caused them to force the fighter's hand. He didn't want his public image to be maybe damaged any more than, let's face it, the opponents that he's been matched in his first 5 or 6 fights that he's been given, probably because his purses are quite big, the opponents have been quite small to sort of at least pay a little bit off that, because who really cares who you fight in the first 5 fights as a heavyweight, which you can see, to be honest, is quite true. But now it's like, put Frazer in a double negative if you ask me. But at the end of the day, one, it's not his fault. I know Frazer personally. He's a very good fighter. He's a very proud man as well, so I know this will be getting to him and will probably draw out not only better training, a better performance, but more ambition in what he does immediately. I do genuinely believe Frazer wants all the fights. He spent 13 years on GB travelling around fighting any and everyone whenever he could. You look at his box rec, amateurs, it's a who's who of who in the last 12, 13 years in the heavyweight division. So yeah, I think Frazer is going to turn over a lot of opinions in the space of one fight. What that fight is, I'm not sure, but he's a very good fighter in his own right. And yeah, I just think it was, this is where, it's chess, not checkers. And it's funny because I see the general response to pretty much everything that happens in boxing. And the only thing I know for sure is that most people that care about boxing don't know a single thing about it.
I was going to say, it did come a bit strange. Everyone said that they requested Frazer Clarke to be mandatory and then they pull out of the purse bids. Did you find that a bit of a strange situation to it all?
Well, in the sense that maybe if Ben Shalom and Sky and Boxer definitely didn't want the fight in this time period, next now right for Frazer, with a chance of purse bids, etc., they probably didn't put the purse bid in, or the request to go for mandatory. Was it Frazer directly? Did he say to... I don't know how the full process works. Was it his management? I don't know. I'm not involved. Someone did for it to get taken, I guess. And I'll be real, I'm kind of shocked that at 5-0, Frazer was even accepted. There's probably a list of British heavyweights that are probably more deservedly, maybe not by talent, maybe not by profile or merit, but by actual time spent in a professional boxing ring, done a couple of 12-rounders, maybe won their last fight. I don't know, it was a bit of a surprise to me, but at the same time, when they're talking about these fights, they're trying to make the best fights. So it is a good fight, and I do think it will happen this year.
Of course, going back a bit then towards DAZN, a lot of people coming out of Cordina's fight night were talking about yourself, your commentary stint. Have they approached you from any? Obviously, not during the 10th, you're fighting, but going forward, have you been brought in as maybe the second commentator?
Well, I think you'll be happy to know after the commentary performance. I've got a little run alongside contract for the commentary side of things with DAZN. So there's going to be a few more guaranteed dates. So yeah, I'm glad how it went. A lot of people don't know. I was only meant to do the Before the Bell, and then Eddie saw the response I was getting, and then they ran around and told me that they want me for the whole fight. I think they gave me the Gavin Gwynn fight off. So, you know what I mean? I was appreciative of the little 45-minute break. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Commentary's a side of my game that I've always enjoyed. Any sort of media promotional fight night, I feel like I love boxing, I love talking about it, so it just makes sense. Joe Cordina, a friend of mine, someone I've seen from a long run up to now be a 2 times world champion and be able to be a part of one of his special nights and commentate it is almost surreal for me. I mean, earlier this year I commentated on a Floyd Mayweather fight that a lot of people don't know about. But yeah, it's a couple of bucket list tick this year. But like I said, yeah, really enjoy it. I've got a lot of positive feedback, probably as much as I've ever had about anything. So yeah, maybe I'll just jack in boxing and start talking about it more.
I was going to say, it was really, really good. I watched it back. And it was a really, really good performance. Just to close off though, just want to get really a prediction. What can fans and everyone expect June the 10th on your Matchroom debut?
I think I'm going to knock out this Muffet, I'll be real. I know it's saying a lot, it's coming from me, but that means it should say something. Like, genuinely, I think he's younger than me. I don't think he's operating at no sort of level as me. I was a bit disappointed that he was the only fighter that would say yes. There was like 2, 3, 4 of my top 15, my top 15 challengers, as I like to call them, the IBF ranking. There was like 3 offers, and they was all going, nah, not enough notice, I can't make the weight, or yeah. So Campos, he wanted it. He's called me out a few times for a few years, and got a lot of his fans messaging me and tagging me and shit. So yeah, it should be quite exciting. I'm looking forward to fight week. This is the part you're just training and just waiting for it now. So I get more excited the closer I get.
Brilliant. Sonny, we're all looking forward to June the 10th. And thank you very much for your time here speaking to Boxing Social. All the best for June the 10th, mate.